Okay. Can you see me though? Like, is my okay? Cool. New York. Me? No, not vocal exercises. But I just do the Sharpay thing. No. Thing. And I'm good. You got that reference, you're real. It's a High School Musical reference. Right? I think it says you're muted. Oh, I just saw a comment that said you're muted. That's all. Let's do that again.
God bless.
Let's do that
This is
again.
what happens
Hey,
when I get rushed.
Coach Adam.
I'm all flustered. Okay, hold on. Calm down, dogs. All right, can everybody hear me now? We good? We're back. I got my microphone plugged in. That might be the important part of being able to hear me. So that was problem number one. So anyways, that being said, you probably missed me with my vocal exercises. So you're lucky. I'm telling you guys you're thankful. But anyways, I was introducing Sebastian and saying how most of the people on this podcast likely know who he is. But for those that don't, Seb, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay. Let's just start with the basics. Grew up in Norway. Started playing handball in Norway, and fell in love with it off the get-go. Moved to the U.S. in 2016. That's how kind of like me and USA Handball started its, let's say, beginning of their love story. And played for Ohio State. So much fun. And then, I had a debut with the junior national team in 2017 in Paraguay. Great time. Yeah, team handball. Anyways, yeah, and then it went off to men's debut for some training camps, and then we went to Georgia in 2019 summer, 2019, and then Junior Worlds was probably the biggest highlight so far. And then Corona happened, which sucks, but we got Egypt coming up, World Championships, so that will be crazy fun.
Excellent. We actually have quite a few viewers today, which is crazy for a work day, but it's good. It's a good start. You talked about Junior World Championships being your the peak of your handball career thus far. Would you consider that your favorite handball moment?
Probably just because of the sheer talent that we played against. It was nuts how crazy talented these players were. Same age, younger even. I was just about to turn 21, I guess, a half year later, but still. I saw these kids at 18 years old for Slovenia and Spain, and they were just going off. So it was crazy, to get to kind of experience that professional, just setting. We walked through the media press zone before every game, and we had some doping tests, and one of us Joey was under 18, so we had to have a coach with him in there, and he had some performance anxiety, but it's whatever, we got over it.
I'm gonna give him crap on that.
Yeah, we're bringing everything today, but yeah, it was insane to just feel the professionalism and kind of feel how all these pros live day in, day out in those crazy championships and all that.
Yeah, craziness. It's also cool because you got to play with these guys when they're at the younger part of their career, and then maybe they'll become a superstar here in the next maybe 5-10 years. So that'd be a pretty cool experience to share on. So good. That's one of the things I always ask people what their favorite sports moment in their career has been thus far. So we've had some unique ones the last couple episodes. So if there was one particular moment, not saying that the whole atmosphere of Worlds was great, was there one moment at Worlds that was the creme de la creme?
It has to be the win that we got against Australia. First victory in World Championship history for USA. We'd beaten Australia before. We played them in Kosovo in April of that year, and we beat them pretty comfortably. We knew we had a strong game against them. We would have the chance to beat them. So we were going into the game kind of with a different mentality compared to the other games where we played, Spain, Slovenia, Tunisia. We ended up playing really well against like Tunisia, Japan, some of those games, but Australia, we were the favorites in our eyes to win that game. So it was always nice to, get that victory. And I just think back to the picture that we took on the sideline with all the family and fans that traveled to Spain to watch us, and it was an amazing feeling. So I think that for that championship, other than that, I really don't have like a single moment that like, oh my god, this is like so crazy.
Cool. I think that's one moment. That's a win. It's a big monumental win, historic win. So that's huge. Looking ahead now to Egypt a little bit, do you think it'll be a lot of the same? Obviously, if it wasn't during COVID, it'd be a lot of the same situation. But I think USA is in the same kind of boat where there's opportunities for some historic and monumental victories.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously a lot of people think that we got this wild card because of the economic aspect of trying to grow handball in the USA, which is a big part of the development that we're trying to do. But I think we can surprise a lot of people with the talent that we have, and we have a lot of young players. If you look at the roster, we have some 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds and 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Our core is around like the 23, 24-year-old kind of generation. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of talent, but it'll be really, really exciting. I think we can surprise a lot of people. We're not going to the chance of us going out with the gold medal is very slim, but
I think it's 4,001.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think
Leicester City had 5,001 to win the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did it. So
anything is possible.
Mm-hmm. Especially now with like COVID and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy to you can't even sit here and imagine what can happen because you'll never know.
Right.
This is going to be crazy. And New Year 2021. It'll be fun.
Busy first couple weeks, that's for sure. Definitely some busy first couple weeks. So you talked about how you lived here in Ohio for a little bit. Why don't you talk about the differences between just sports in general, playing high school sports here in Columbus, and what sports at a youth level and just sports in general at a competitive level in Europe are like, what that discrepancy is.
I think it starts way down from when you start playing sports. You obviously have lately soccer has been a crazy in development in terms of children's sports. You start at 6 years old or 5 years old or whatever it is, and you kind of you start at the bottom and you just work your way up. And that's starting to be pretty similar compared to how it is in Europe. Because I mean, I'm not sure exactly what ages, but I mean, you can play football, but in baseball and stuff like that, but mostly like you have to grow a little until you can actually start playing it, with school sports and stuff like that. Like there's Pee Wee football, obviously, but yeah, most of the sports in the U.S. is governed through the school, which is kind of different from here because it starts with like your school teams in soccer and handball and stuff like that at the early ages, and then when you go through fifth or sixth grade, it goes into kind of regional or where you play for your like town instead of just your school. Where it's kind of different in the U.S. where you go to your high school to play, baseball, football, lacrosse, soccer, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously there's different kinds of sports. Like there's a lot of skiing and winter sports that aren't that huge, especially on the East Coast in the U.S. But it's just a different kind of system to build the grounding or building blocks, I guess, for different sports.
Yeah, I think it's something that is very interesting because people just don't, realize that how different sports are set up overseas, and that's where folks that are coming in trying to start handball teams from, they're maybe from Europe or something like that. They just don't understand the fundamental issue with trying to do that here in the States. Is you got to get integrated into the process and then go up from there. So it's a little bit more difficult. So why don't we talk a little bit about what you think the number one difference between handball at club level here in the U.S. versus a club level in Norway?
The main difference?
Yeah. There might be like a list of like 30 or something like that, but just the top
maybe.
Couple.
Okay. I think obviously, like you said, it starts at a way younger level. I mean, I was late. I came late to the game in handball, and I started playing handball in fifth grade. So like everyone that was playing had played since they were like 6, 7, 8 years old, right? So I was late to the game, and kind of picked up a quick development process and kind of started learning stuff, and immediately obviously fell in love with it. But it's so different in terms of like when you hear of handball in the U.S., it's always like, oh, yeah, like we played it in gym and in gym class and in like middle school and elementary school and stuff like that. But or like in college, they start actually playing and going to practices in college and then starting to pick stuff up. And I mean, it's scientifically proven that the younger you start learning something, the quicker you learn it and pick up on stuff like that. So it's different in that way. Also, you don't play with glue in the U.S., which you've heard me nag about it
every day.
Yeah, you've heard me nag about it millions of times. So very well, yes. But it's just not the same game. It's like comparing. I would say it's like comparing playing baseball without a glove. You know what I mean? Or playing soccer barefoot. It's just not the same sport. So that also, it's just built up better for handball in Europe, mostly because of the gyms. You know, it's not basketball, so you can have glue on the floor without being a huge problem because it is one of the biggest sports, you know, so it gets prioritized in terms of, you know, who gets the most gym time and who gets, you know, okay, but we have 300 kids in our club. If maybe the basketball team has, let's say 20, you know, they're not going to be prioritized. But in the U.S., it's the opposite.
Yep.
If you have like at a rec center, it's like, okay, we have 50 games or whatever, 20 games a week, right? And then maybe one handball game every 2 weeks or 3 handball games every 2 weeks. You know, they're not going to get prioritized until there's a huge demand for it. So it's kind of like impossible like circle kind of thing to figure out. But it's you know, you're probably the best man to do it if I were to bet.
All right, we'll see if we can crack the code. It's something that one of the things that I definitely like want to ask you is like when you were in high school and you'd come to practice with us at Ohio State or go play on trips with Team USA and go back to school. And I know Sana faced this a lot, just talking with teachers and coordinating and stuff like that. What did kids say? Like, what did, you know, you'd be like, oh, they'd be like, what'd you do this weekend? You'd be like, oh, I just went and played for Team USA. Like, what was their response to that?
I think it was very mixed. Like some people were like, oh, okay, it's like you're playing a weird sport that no one cares about. Congrats, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people didn't really think it was that big of a deal. But then some people that kind of understood the dynamic of it was like, wow, I'm so proud of you. This is so huge. Like, congrats, and this is so huge for you. And it was kind of mixed in that sense. A lot of my coaches kind of understood how big of a deal it was. And so when I went to Paraguay, instead of staying with the baseball team and playing with them for, you know, spring break, which was like when they had 7 games in 7 days, you know what I mean, to you know, get pitchers going. And, you know, I was a PO, so pitchers only. I was just sitting in the bullpen waiting to get the call and throw 4 balls and get taken out. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, I was not a great pitcher because, you know, I just picked it up in February and I was like, hey, I kind of want to play baseball. And I was like, okay, have you played before? And I was like, you know, I played with my dad, you know, been throwing some catch in the backyard when I was younger and, you know, swung the bat a couple times, but, you know, I was not even close to what these guys that have been playing since they were 8 years old, you know, were at. It was just a different ball game. So I was lucky enough to get a couple innings as a reliever when we were up 12-1 and 9-1 and stuff like that. So I appreciate that and all that. But yeah, it was kind of the same, you know, looking at some people come in and, you know, picking up handball, and it's very clear to see kind of how basketball oriented people's movements are, especially with, you know, athletes that are like, okay, they don't want to like or maybe put in the insane amount of work you need to become an NBA player, a G League player, or, you know, go overseas or whatever, but they're very athletic and very talented. So when they step on a handball court, it's very kind of jump step movements and they use their body in a different way than we've been taught from when we were kids. But back to, you know, how it was saying they played for Team USA, it was very mixed. You know, my closest people were like, I'm so proud of you and you're so cool and all that. But people that you like met and they asked like what you're doing and what you're doing for Team USA. If I was wearing like some gear or something, they'd be like, oh, I'd say like, oh, I have to play team handball. And they're like, oh, were you like hit the ball against the wall? And I was like, no, sorry, it's a different sport. Way more popular sport in Europe and all that. And so it's kind of mixed, but, you know, that's the opportunity to teach people about the beautiful sport that, you know, I've grown up with.
It's definitely definitely have to be an ambassador for the sport. It's tough here, and
Oh, for sure.
that's one of those things. Is like, what do we do to try to get more, more of change that narrative from, oh hey, like, oh cool, you're playing some gym class game that nobody cares about, to like, oh wow, like you're playing this at a really high level. Like, how do we get more of those people, and how do we then get them to start playing themselves? Because that's the hard part for me, is how do I tap into the high school kids and get them to be a little bit more interested in their opportunities. And I talked with our guest Bailey Croft a couple episodes ago about recruitment and things like that. And right now I don't have much to offer besides like some cool gear, and we got nice jerseys and stuff like that, and we go on a lot of cool trips. But I don't know how I don't know how to best convince kids at a younger age to jump in. High school is that weird gap, like you could get a younger kid like your brother Jake, like his friends would probably be easier to get to start playing handball, but then I gotta find a way to bridge the gap between high school or middle school to college.
Yeah, it's so difficult because there's so many layers to getting someone interested in a sport, and then keeping them interested for 10 plus years until they, can move. Like if you start introducing the sport to kids at a young age, like 6, 7, 8 years old, you have to keep them interested until, they're 16, 17, 18, and you can like move away or move like in the short term, obviously you get some exposure in terms of, or exposure to, solid coaching teams and a real system of handball, which is difficult to start in the U.S. because, it's just so many layers, and there's not a community yet in terms of the younger generation. But I think in terms of recruitment, it starts. I think social media is so big. Social media, it cannot be said enough. Like social media, especially how TikTok is growing so much as an app and a platform. You need videos to go viral and people to start talking about it, and then that creates the interest to get the demand, and then to offer the product and which we're trying to sell, which is handball, to American people. And it has to be available, because I feel like if you have to put in a lot of work just for yourself to play, it's going to get boring very quick, because you're working a lot for, especially in the beginning, you're working a lot to, let's say drive 40 minutes to Ohio State if you're, outside Columbus, or doing that at like 9 p.m. every night, or 2 or 3 nights a week. It's going to get difficult to keep it, keep the growth, and keep everyone interested. And there has to become a community, and it's day by day, step by step, and you just have to continue the development. But it's a long haul. Like it's not something that you can get one video viral in for like 10 million views or 20 million views or whatever, and then in 3 weeks, like the sport is booming and everyone's playing it. It's not like spike ball or cornhole that you can just like take out to your yard and play. Yep. You have to set up, and that's, I think that is one of the biggest problems. I think it's very difficult to actually get in a session. Like if you think about football, you have a football, you can go out with your friends, toss the football around. Baseball, you have a glove, you have a ball, go out and throw some baseball. Same with lacrosse, same with soccer. You don't need the kind of equipment and gym time and the setup in terms of cones and a goal. I remember the first year I was at Ohio State, we had to carry the goals to the gym. Yep. And there was no net on the goals. And then we went to using like some of the like blow up goals and like the easy setup goals, because it was very difficult getting like real metal goals to the gym, every single practice. But yeah, like Martin says in Coach Martin, shout out to Coach Martin, what a G. Like you say, you get them to try it, and a lot of people love the sport because it's so fun. It's so high intensity. You just get to play, and there's a lot of contact in it. So it's you have to get there and get a lot of kids to try it and play it often. So like we have handball, like training camps. I guess not training camps, but it's like. Yeah, I guess it is a training camp. Like football camp in the fall for kids. Same thing with handball in Europe. You have 3 or 2 practices a day where you just like play handball and for a week right before school starts. When parents' jobs have started back up again after the summer break and kids are home, but maybe they're too young to be home alone. They can play some, handball and go to camps and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that, really recruits and starts the recruitment with in Norway and in Europe. So that's a huge factor, I think, to just get as many kids to try it.
Huge point from Martin there in the chat. Shout out to Martin for being a top shooter. But he said, actual quote from a teacher out here is that I think it has been a great unifying game for our students who are mostly African American and Hispanic and usually prefer playing basketball and soccer respectively. I think there's a lot of truth to that, and like to your point, Sebastian, about getting those younger kids that are stuck at home while their parents are at work, like getting them in clinics and camps and things like that. And that's where I think it's an easy thing that folks realize that once we get a little bit more groundwork ready to go, that we can just start going to these different clinics and multi-sport camps that kids, I go to 4-H camp every year with my wife, and there's a sports session every day, and we play handball every time, and the kids love it. And we're trying to start teams up in their area, but the schools are kind of shutting them down because of the concern that it'll be too much money. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I'm free. The equipment I bring is free. I'll pretty much bring all the coaching, balls, goals, jerseys, the whole 9 yards, but trying to fight them on that. So it's tough. But one other question I had on the other previous little piece there is, so you were around when we had to carry the goals to practice from my house, or from where did we have to carry the goals from?
I think it was just a house on campus. No, it was your house. It was your little brother was there one of the times, and we carried it from there. And one of the times we put him on like a pickup truck. It wasn't. It was like right on the tail end from in that era, I guess you could say. Yeah. When we practiced up at like half court, half just gym.
Yep.
With the wall in between, and it was like half a basketball court. Where we like practiced on. Yeah. But yeah, it was. It was worth it every single day of the week. Like, it was especially like it helped me kind of transition in terms of I moved from Norway, and it's the only country I've really known before that. So getting to play handball once or twice a week was a really big help for me. Especially since I moved across the world. Yeah. So I would have done it every day of the week anyway. So I wasn't really complaining. It was just a funny contrast of how it is here. I kind of take it for granted that now that I come to practice every single day, and we have tape on deck, we have sports bands to do our warm-ups and stretches, and we have the court, we have our dressing rooms, and we have the showers and everything, right? But it kind of made me rethink what you took for granted when we came there, and you had everyone we had the ball net, didn't we, with some of the molten balls and some of the old select balls and all that, and then we had a blow up goal and some cones, no real lines, no yeah, it was still just as fun. So I don't regret it at all. It was great fun.
Well, I know that you and your sister were huge helps to me because I always need all the help I can get with, especially when we have practices where we're gaining members, and it's very tough, and that's where a lot of the situation goes. It gets difficult. Is that we'll have athletes that they are ready to take their talents to the next level, but I have athletes that are at ground zero as far as sports and athleticism go. So it's very difficult to have one practice that kind of captures everybody's needs. And we've got to the point now where we got a pretty deep enough squad that we can split it pretty well. But it'd be nice if we had another coach that could come and basically one coach works with the A team and takes them to a different level, and another coach works with the B team and getting them up to speed. So it's
for sure.
It's a process. So you've always told me that your brother Jake is the potentially the best handball player in the Wheeler household. What would it take to get him to get a Ohio State scholarship for handball and come play for us over here? Continue the Wheeler family legacy of Buckeye handball tradition.
I think if you want to put something in his contract, I think gaming setup would be would probably be the first selling point.
Like Fortnite kid or Warzone?
No, he's just 11, so he still doesn't play the real shooting games yet, but he'll get there.
Right.
I was about, I think, 13 or 14 when I started playing Call of Duty, So, but yeah, he plays a lot. Okay. But he also, enjoys the sport of handball probably just as much as me and Sana. I think the most important thing for him is just, to have fun. Like it's not that important. It's not that big. He's still 11 years old. Like handball does not become important until that's what makes you put food on your table. You know what I mean? Yep. So just enjoying it is really the biggest part. And but yeah, I think giving him a gaming setup or something that would probably be the first selling point I would throw out to persuade him. And then maybe a couple of years you can mention, there's a lot of beautiful girls on campus and stuff like that. But he's not on there yet. But if he's anything like like my dad or me, I'm not going to go into detail of any stories, but me and JD got some. Oh yeah, we've had some discussions before, for sure.
Yep. My wife doesn't listen to this, so we're good on that front. But
all right, we're good. But hey, we can't show our secrets. We can't show our cards.
Yeah, exactly. What happens on the plane stays on the plane.
Oh, exactly. Especially with the screw waffles.
Yeah. I think what's cool with Jake is that I'm working on this building a facility. I actually talked with some folks today with the city of Delaware.
Sounds sick.
The plan is to have 8 streaming studios so that people can rent by hour or get like a streaming membership or something like that, so they can come in and use the equipment and set up basically because we want to make sure it's esports compatible, that we can host large scale esports tournaments at. So that would be, it's going to have 3 handball halls, 6 basketball courts, 12 volleyball. I go grab my iPad and show people, but I'll keep it a hush secret till we get some actual progress going. But yeah, so
did you see the Kentucky esports facility?
No, I did not.
No, you look up University of Kentucky. They have a crazy new esports facility apparently.
Let me look this up. Yeah, I heard you, dude. Hey, indoor voice. That's better. We're teaching her how to use an indoor voice. Tell your mom and dad I said hey.
Yeah, dad's going to bed. It's almost 9:30.
Hey, it's rough life. Dang. So this is. I see
Hey, when you
the.
get up at 5:30.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, and holy cow, that's a lot nicer than the facility I'm looking to build. But it's also a lot more money to
Oh, for sure.
delve into it. That's where Mark Ortega and Volendam, they're building an esports facility, a handball esports facility
really?
in Amsterdam. It's partnered with Heineken. It's looking legit. They're gonna have like an interactive handball wall and stuff that you can like basically have
No
an
way.
interactive goalie that you throw around and stuff. So it's gonna be pretty sweet. Definitely looking forward to that. Let me think. I think we covered all the topics I wanted to talk about. What you got any questions for me?
Questions for you.
Or just stuff you want to
I
talk
don't
about in general?
know. How much do you want to pay me to coach you guys? Or in
As far as payment, you could live at my house for free. So I got a pretty nice house. I don't think you got to see it because you already left. I think
I didn't.
your mom and Sana came over, but
I couldn't come to your wedding either, unfortunately.
yeah, just missing all the life stuff. But
I know.
that was the Chicago tournament with Craig, I think.
It was.
Yeah, so I don't blame you. Trying to think. Yeah. If you wanted to live here, definitely could be arranged. Payment. Yeah, I charge people $100 a month to live in the basement. It's got full size basement. It's fully covered. Bathroom's not done. So if you want to build the bathroom, might even reduce your rent a little bit.
I'll bring my tools.
Yeah. Big craftsman, Sebastian. What else? Yeah, I mean Tony and Dime got paid parking, so I've never been paid parking, so I gotta get on their level.
Hey.
But one day.
That's funny. One day we'll get there. Yeah. We'll get to parking. No, but it would be so fun. But in this pandemic, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Everything's difficult now. Everything is.
It's been very interesting because, talking with some of the folks in group chats and things like that, they don't realize that I pretty much haven't been able to play handball since, March in an actual legitimate non-COVID restricted fashion. We played a game against Detroit. Everybody had to wear a mask during the game. It was on a court. Joey, he realized he did the best he could. The court was maybe 25 meters long, maybe 30. It was very short. And that was the best. That was the closest thing we've had to handball since March, and that was a couple months ago.
Rough. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, taking things for granted. I said this earlier today at work. I was like, I miss handball. I haven't played in so long. Last time I played was, Sunday the 21st, December 21st, so 9 days. I've been without handball, and I'm getting absent and just freaking shaking almost. But no, I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's crazy how you take things for granted, and especially just in terms of handball, because that's mostly what my life revolves around. But yeah, it's 9 days, and I'm acting like it's a big deal. Yeah. Well, so I'm fortunate to live in a country that has. Now there's actually a big spike lately in terms of COVID, because there's a mutation in Great Britain. It got to Denmark. Somehow it got to Norway as well. So there's like a mutation. We had some of our first vaccines the other day, but it's difficult. We just need it to be over with so we can just travel around and I can see my boys again and play some beach handball up in northern Ohio. And
Nothing like beach handball on concrete. That's what it's all about, right?
No, that's exactly what it's all about. But was it? No, it was a beach though. It was like
It was basically like hard, very coarse sand. That's
yeah.
It was rough.
But, hey,
I have a
had
beach.
great
I
time.
bought a beach ball though, so now we have real beach handball for next time.
What did we use? Wasn't it like
It was like a what do you call it? Like a foam dodgeball. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now.
I had a quick question for you that I was thinking about. So you were talking about how important TikTok is and things like that. Not sure if you saw my most recent TikTok where I set up the goal. I got the goal in my basement, so I've been shooting down there. I got about 9 meters of like space that I can work with. So I can shoot down there. But what would you recommend for me to improve my TikTok game?
I'm just gonna say what I want to see. I want to see you just doing dances, TikTok dances, and handball jerseys, and doing like incorporating handball moves into dancing. That's what I want to see. I'll do at you. But I don't know. In terms of, I haven't. It's become a time wasting app for me lately. But I have like 1 or 2 videos where I prank my family in April.
That was great. I love that.
I melted chocolate on top of her, and then had the chocolate. Yeah, what do you call it? Got hard over the egg.
Yeah,
I said I was making cake pops, and it was just an egg instead of actual.
Oh, so gross.
And I gave it to my whole family, and I was like, "Oh, take this cake pop." I'm filming it for like my friend group or whatever, and because they said I couldn't make good cake pops, and they all like bit into it, and it was just an egg, and
raw egg,
like a raw egg, and they were not happy. They were flying after me and chasing me around the freaking house. So
rightfully so.
But yeah, I've seen some of the USA Team handball videos that have gone, kind of viral with over 100,000 views or whatever it was, with just highlights from Champions League or something. And Champions League was this week actually, the finals. So that was a big event. Maybe get some videos up from that. My guy from the saga with the dub. So that was crazy. But
yeah.
I don't know you just got to be yourself, JD.
All right.
Everyone loves you.
Gotta let the peacock fly.
Exactly. I can't wait.
That I can do. It's gonna. I'm gonna be helping Melissa a lot during our trip, so she and I are gonna be pretty much running all the content. So it's gonna be wild times. Yeah. She and I will be in the content house just making videos. So.
Like a handball house with all like handball players.
I don't know how this is gonna go down. It's gonna be wild.
Get Jeb in there. Jeb, Jimbo, JD.
That's the triple J.
Luke, Gabe.
Oh, Gabe's all about. Gabe's got a following. So yeah, Gabe.
Really?
Yeah. Gabe fits that like TikTok influencer vibe. He's got that like frat boy life.
The hair.
Exactly. It's just the hair.
He's got the hair as well. Yeah, it is. It is honestly. But yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
We'll see what we can do.
We'll see.
Okay. Cool. Well, this was fun. I'm sorry Max didn't get to jump on here. But
I saw a comment on the Instagram post. He was like, "This guy looks like a handsome young man," or something like that.
Yeah, that's standard Max comment.
Standard, I was like, this is the Max that I missed.
You gotta follow his Finstagram accounts. I just realized what a Finstagram was, and he's got some gems on there. So if you can find it,
that was what my Instagram account was to begin with. I had one called like Sebastian _Wheeler, and it was like I just posted like every 3 months. But then I had the Prince Wheeler ones. I started in like 2013 or something. And I just posted a bunch of bullshit. And if you scroll far enough down, you'll see a bunch of weird posts from my 14, 15 years old through middle school in Norway, and then it turned into my real account around, I don't know, 2015, I guess. Started 2015. That's when I really started using that as a general account. Okay. And then kind of deleted some of the absolute horrible posts that I had. I kept some of the just funny ones that. So I don't even know how many posts I have, 700, 800 or something. Oh, it used to be it's down to 646. I used to have 1,500 posts on that, but I deleted so many of them. There was a lot of spam too. It was just bullshit. But yeah, that's what my account started as, because I just had my closest friends and I posted a bunch of stuff, and then